You'll never believe this, but CrossfireX is secretly one of Xbox's most important 2022 exclusives. The game is a follow-up to 2007's Crossfire, an absolute megaton FPS titan. While we're not tuned into its success here in the West, Eastern players, particularly in places like China, simply cannot get enough Crossfire. Its competitive CSGO-style gunplay has racked up a bone-aching 1 billion players worldwide, according to its developer Smilegate. That's wild. So the next time someone downplays CrossfireX, the successor to one of gaming's most lucrative titles, throw that stat back at them. There's no doubt that the multiplayer suite will bang on Xbox and draw a huge amount of attention to the platform from territories that are typically weak for the brand. Although, from that Western perspective with no Crossfire experience, the game seems a bit, well, generic. There's no shortage of great online multiplayer games on the system. Personally, I'm not sure I'll invest my time in another FPS right now. It'll take a gigantic effort, or maybe a Gallarhorn, to get the battle rifle out of my hands. The CrossfireX is nonetheless preloaded on my Xbox right now, and it should be queued up on yours too. But the game doesn't deserve the hard drive space on the merits of its multiplayer primarily. You need CrossfireX for its campaign. After all, Crossfire isn't just a Smilegate project. That studio is only handling the multiplayer. Not enough people are acknowledging that the single-player campaign is a Remedy production. That's something to be excited about. Alan Wake, Quantum Break, Control. Remedy's reputation is only growing as the team cuts deals left and right for new games in both the Control and Alan Wake universes. Maybe there's an argument to be made for Remedy being too busy, but the studio's track record is pretty damn good. Now, I have to admit that I'm not a Control fan personally, although I'd like to be. I never connected to its world, in spite of both its wonderful world building and combat. I'm certainly in the minority on the matter. Nonetheless, applying Remedy's eye for storytelling and combat mechanics to an FPS context is a perfect opportunity for myself and many others to click with the studio's output. After all, it's unlikely that Crossfire's campaign will be a complete misfire. Pardon the pun. Previews are a bit mixed, as we'll discuss, but the game looks undeniably badass. First off, the game's trailers are stunningly high fidelity. With any luck, this will be the next major graphical showcase for the Series X. What better way to demonstrate the console's power than with a bit of bombast and a lot of explosions? Of course, that chaos is nothing without the framework contextualizing it. There isn't too much information readily available about the game's plot, although we do know that it chronicles the conflict between two private military contractors. Easy Allies preview offered a bit more context, describing the dynamic perspective shifts within missions and operations, and a certifiably Remedy-styled MacGuffin motivating the plot. The latter is rather interesting, as Remedy's involvement seems to be making Crossfire's campaign out to be more than just another modern military romp. We see some sort of stealth suit and ninja man that feels very Metal Gear here. Given how bizarre Remedy's story concepts can be, we'll definitely be in for a ride here. But will it be a mechanically satisfying ride? This is where we reach the potential trouble surrounding CrossfireX. Apparently the game feels old, like 6th, 7th generation old. In the eyes of some, like the Easy Allies guys, that's for the better.
If you're like, what the hell is this game? The number one game I can compare this to, let's see if you get this. PS2, first-person shooter, Black.
IGN didn't quite feel the same way.
The worst part is that the core of what CrossfireX is supposed to be, a first-person shooter, seems to be trapped in the Xbox 360 era.
While this difference in opinion throws something of a spanner into the works, CrossfireX seems to have gotten more preview praise than straight criticism. After all, the studio that birthed Bullet Time is bringing it back for CrossfireX in the context of a wild military narrative. It's hard to go too wrong there. While it's difficult to see how the campaign can go awry, IGN's preview complaints about archetypal level design and mission structure could be a sticking point. By that same token, the Easy Allies crew seems to tell the other side of that story. Ultimately, CrossfireX's campaign is a case of wait and see as to whether Remedy can translate its design success to an FPS. We're mere days away from Crossfire's February 10th release, so that wait is fairly short. Given that it's launching into Xbox Game Pass, the risk is incredibly low here. Give it a shot. The title is, again, continuing to prove the value of the Game Pass service. Frankly, the promise of Remedy's past and the style of the trailers completely outweighs the occasional negative preview when the barrier to entry is a subscription fee that you probably already pay for Halo. So carve out a bit of time for Crossfire. Yes, it'll be coming in under the wire before Horizon and Elden Ring, and right on the heels of Pokemon. But the Xbox ecosystem makes it so easy to give new titles a try, and the legacy of Remedy demands at least an afternoon of your time. Especially since Battlefield is currently flagging, Crossfire might just step up as a de facto modern military shooter. Keep an eye on Boss Level Gamer for more CrossfireX content and even more videos about everything else in the industry. Talk to you later.